It is hard to hear what Cassie Ventura, Sean Diddy Combs' ex-girlfriend, told a packed New York courtroom yesterday. Quote, "He would bash my head, knock me over, drag me, kick me, stomp me in the head when I was down."
Seems like such a nice guy. That was apparently just a small part of what the singer and model said over 6 hours of testimony in the Sean Combs racketeering and sex trafficking case. ABC News investigative reporter Peter Charalambous is covering that trial and joins us live from New York.
So, Peter, Cassie also went into graphic detail about what happened in those freak-offs. That's the name that Combs gave those parties that he allegedly forced Cassie to orchestrate. Did what she said yesterday help federal prosecutors in the trafficking charges?
You know, it didn't necessarily go to the heart of the charges here per se, and that, you know, this is a complicated case about racketeering and sex trafficking, but she's really building a pretty thoroughly accounted recollection, really, of how her relationship with Combs grew increasingly violent and how he forced her to orchestrate these sex parties. The jury has also heard from two other witnesses and seen a video showing Combs kind of viciously beating Ventura in 2016 at a hotel in Los Angeles. All of this is kind of going to her credibility and establishing kind of the initial account for this jury. They'll hear more from Combs' associates over the next few weeks, from other people involved in this alleged conspiracy. But this is really hard to watch, kind of devastating testimony as she really broke down to tears, kind of going into excruciating details at times about this alleged sexual abuse and physical abuse.
Now, how long was she actually involved with him?
So they had about a decade-long relationship, and this is likely to be something that the defense brings up and uses in their favor, and that it was a complicated relationship. It was a relationship filled with violence and jealousy, and even Ventura admitted that she would be jealous at times of Combs, and she really just wanted to spend time with Combs. It got to the point where she said that she was willing to really plan these sex parties because at the end of the day, it was the only time she had left with Combs to spend time with him. It was that or nothing. And she, you know, was on this witness stand kind of flipping through a binder of sex workers that she had to recruit for Combs, describing in kind of in horrifying at times detail each part of these sex parties, to the point at which I shouldn't even be describing it on the air. It was tough for this jury to watch, and you could see it on their faces at times.
So is Combs expected to testify when the defense gets their turn? Is he going to try and defend himself against, you know, just these horrible actions that really, in some ways, the defense, when it doesn't come to necessarily the trafficking charges, admits he's not a great guy?
Yeah, it's hard to say. At this point, we haven't had a solid answer from the defense team at this point. He'll have to, at some point in this trial, affirm that he knows he has that right and he's declining it. So I expect we'll get a decision on that somewhere in the next 8 weeks. And it's interesting because if you look at the defense strategy here, they're not saying that Combs is an innocent man per se, that he's perfect, that he hasn't done bad things. In fact, during her opening statement, Combs' defense attorney basically said, all of these things you're seeing, all these videos, all these allegations, this is domestic violence. They admit it. They just say that it isn't sex trafficking and it isn't racketeering. That isn't necessarily a very sympathetic defense to be testifying as a defendant, saying, yeah, I was violent with my partner, but I didn't traffic anyone. That's kind of a hard needle to thread if you're trying to get an acquittal from a jury of New Yorkers.
Well, I know she's expected to take the stand again today. We appreciate the time, Peter Charalambous, on the Sean Diddy Combs racketeering and sex trafficking case. And like he said, some of the details are just wild.
Stuff that men would be embarrassed to talk about in a locker room. I mean, it's just horrible stuff.
It's just, and the violence, the sheer violence that he's capable of.
Thanks for watching Arizona's Morning News. Click to watch more from KTAR News and hit the button in the middle to subscribe.